back to Farm Center 22. Back here on Middleburg with Grober Games. As you can see, I got us quite the load of whiskey loaded. It looks like the distributing for the crack corn finally works. So we got all the crack corn delivered to our still here, and we ended up creating a lot of whiskey overnight. This is just one load, and this is the only load I'm going to be selling today. So one of the things I noticed, so I did change the economy partway through the series. I decided I want to go back to the hard economy setting and play through it just because we gave ourselves a little bit more of a head start this time around. And I noticed that for some reason, and I don't know if it's intentional or not, but it looks like some of the pricings for the whiskey is not like following the trend, so to speak. So just as a little personal rule I set for myself for now, just to see how things go, is that I decided I'm not going to sell to any of these places that are offering like $3,000 yet for it, even though I probably could very well get away with that. Instead, we're gonna be working with the stuff we got. So right now, the highest place that it's gonna be buying for it is the mall sell point. Plus, I figure this way it gives us a little bit more of a chance to explore this map a little more. Like I said, I kind of did a rough run through it by myself, and I haven't explored everything yet. And plus, I think it'd be kind of cool to see all these different sell points and such. But we're heading out with all this whiskey here this morning to get this all sold, and then when we get back to the farm, we're gonna have to, ooh, big bump there. We're gonna have to, get back to, wow, this road's not really that level. You could kind of see the way the trailer's like flexing up and down a lot. There's a lot of little bumps in it. But back to what I was saying. We're gonna head back to the farm and we're gonna get the row crop head on. And we got a bunch of sunflower to knock out today. And I'm hoping it'll only take us one episode to get it all knocked out. It's kind of hard to say. It's a bigger field with that row crop head. It might take us a little bit, especially since we're working with quite a few bigger fields with the smaller equipment we got. But I think that's gonna help the series out a little bit more. We can stretch things out. I shouldn't say stretch things out. We'll have enough to keep us busy that we won't have to worry about like my other hard economy series where I just kept doing contract work constantly, just because that seemed to make it pretty stale for me. I mean, it's good money, but I kind of want to I kind of like doing things for ourselves and not having to do too much stuff of that. Especially with our with how our whatchamacallit series has been going, our No Man's Land. So we're just gonna sell this whiskey off here. And we might be forced to sell off a little more yet. There we go. And the other thing I did in between episodes, I did get rid of our... Huh. That's interesting. I wonder what that facility is. Sorry to get distracted like that. I did get rid of our... What is it called? Our cultivator. I sold that off right away just so we could get the most out of it. We got till next... Oh, really? Till next spring to figure out what we want to do there, or at least... Yeah, it's next spring, because we only really need to worry about doing any type of cultivation with our... with our corn ground, so to speak, and if we ever decide to get in potatoes, which I don't think, as of right now, I don't see us doing that in this series, but that might change. That we might... So basically, I'm just trying to decide if I want to buy a Case International disc or if I want to go with that Great Plains Turbo Till. I haven't used that Great Plains Turbo Till in a series yet. I've been kind of wanting to. A Case International disc we used for a very little bit of time, not a very long time in the No Man's Land series. In fact, we got rid of that pretty fast, to be honest with you, for a cultivator. So I'm not sure where I'm going with that yet. I also have the John Deere variant of that, and I can't remember. I think it's coming down to whether or not if our 1486 will be able to handle that stuff, so to speak, because our 1486 is the main powerhouse of the farm right now. And then we got the 7,000, which is a little bit, has a little bit more horse than our 8,000 that we started out with. Like I said, I might have not been the greatest choice for me to sell that off right away and go to the 7,000, but I just couldn't resist myself. I was just really excited to use that new tractor and such, and I just couldn't help myself. It's the inner child in me of want something, but I actually not really needed it type thing. And I think the one thing that is kind of concerning to me right now, which it'll keep us plenty busy for a while, is that we're gonna have quite a bit of time to. I lost my train of thought here. Gotta get in the combine and get rolling here. Is that? Oh gosh, I lost my train of thought again. I was going somewhere. Still early in the morning for me with recording, so you'll have to forgive me. I was going. I hate where I'm just going somewhere or something, then I just go completely blank. Oh, we're gonna have quite a bit of work to be done when we start planting, after we get planting, because we're gonna have so much of this ground to be sprayed that we're gonna be pretty busy with that with our little self-propelled sprayer. That. Why is the head not lowering? Is it just how it's going to work on sunflowers? I mean, as long as it's harvesting, I guess it doesn't bother me none. It's just going to bug me when we start doing corn if it sits that high. It just feels like it's sitting pretty high yet. Hard to tell. It looks like the sunflowers are not yielding too bad. I figured they'd be doing a lot worse with all these weeds out here. But back to what I was saying, we're gonna have quite a bit of our work cut out for us, just because with that little sprayer, it's gonna take us a long time to get all this ground covered, especially with us doing no-till on a lot of this ground. That we're gonna be seeing a lot of weed pressure from everything. And like I said with this series, we're not going to get right at the beginning, we're not going to get super into precision, so to speak. Like, the most we'll do is we'll obviously do our soil sampling and do our fertilizer application, but we're going to be doing our fertilizer application straight with the crops. So that's where I think we're going to start to see quite a bit of like yield map differences, which is kind of why I wanted to go that route to see how much that's going to actually affect our yield versus like on our no man's land. We got like the latest greatest technology for applying nitrogen, so we can apply exactly what we need when the crop's in its intermediate stage, so to speak, of growing. So I'm really curious to see how everything's going to pan out. And the one thing that kind of is nice for us but kind of stinks in the long run of things is that almost all of our ground is the loam, which is the best soil typing that they have in the game. That tree looks like it's having some issues. Might have to take that one down. But I'm thinking right now, the few things we still got to invest into yet besides the fertilizer and the chemicals we need for next year is that we got to eventually invest into a fuel buggy type system to get fuel back up to the farm, because right now our barrel is sitting completely empty. I think we'll have enough fuel yet in all the equipment that we're starting with to get through the rest of the season at least. So it's going to take us quite a bit of time to get everything worked out here. Like, the two things that set us back was just the fact that I had to buy that Westfield auger so we can actually reach the top of those bins a little bit better. That, I think it was a versatile one, I can't remember. That red auger from that auger pack just could barely reach it, and most of the time it was sliding off the side of the bin. So I just went back with the Westfield just because it's going to be better for us in the long run, so I don't have to mess around with that. I do want to invest into a few chickens, and I might invest into like 60 head of chickens. Well, we'll probably just start with chicks, to be honest with you. And we'll kind of grow our chicken farm from there, so to speak. We'll buy a few roosters and then start breeding our own stock after a bit. But right now, my plan is that the first big investment is that we need to get a fuel buggy and get some fuel brought up to the farm. We don't need a lot of fuel, we just need enough to get us by for a while right now. And I think about 500 liters will get us by for a season, hopefully. And I'm thinking that maybe over the winter I might remove some trees around the farm, see if we can get a little extra cash coming in from that route. But I think in between episodes I might see if there might be a nice level spot for us to set something up later on down the road. Maybe we'll be able to set up a hog building or something out here. We're kind of away from everyone, so we shouldn't bother anyone with us doing something like that. And I might look at land prices too, because I noticed we got just kind of north of us, there's those 3 other fields up there, but there's also those 2 clearings up there, it looks like, in the woods. I might drive up there and around a little bit and see what we can find. Or I shouldn't say see what we can find, but see what that landscape looks like, just to see for what we want to do for like future expansion goes. Because like I said, I'd like to get into cattle right away, but I don't know if that's going to be possible. Because if we do, we'll only get like 6 head and slowly grow our herd, like we've done in our No Man's Land series. I think we would buy some older cattle so that way we can start breeding right away, and we'll just start feeding them hay to get us by for a while. Like I said, there's a lot of routes we can go here. I just haven't fully decided what's going to be the best route for us. But I think I've taken enough of your guys' time with my thoughts and rambling. I think we're going to finally jump in the time lapse here. Like I said, I'm hoping that we can get this completely knocked out, but my expectations are not high. I think it's going to be at least a 2-part, just because with this little 6-row head, it's going to take us quite a while to get around this field to get everything harvested. And I think we're almost definitely going to work on trying to get this field completely limed this year. If not, we'll just wait till spring to get it limed. The other thing I still got to decide on is if I want to plant beans in all these fields over here, or if I want to plant beans and plant something else like sorghum. So we'll jump in a time lapse here, and we'll see you guys in a bit. Well, everyone, this is where we're going to start wrapping up today's episode. I'm just kind of getting stuff worked away here to getting put away for the winter and such. Just going to be a little bit tight getting everything put away, but the only good side is that we are short. Well, I shouldn't say good side is. One silver lining is with us getting rid of that cultivator, we have a little bit more space to put some things away, so to speak. So we're just going to back this drill way back up here by the platform. I think, yep, we can barely squeeze it in there. So we're just going to put this back here for now. I was thinking about buying a pressure washer and get everything cleaned up, but I think we're going to hold off on that for now just because we have a few other things I'd rather prioritize first before we start worrying about keeping our equipment nice, clean, and tidy, so to speak. I mean, it will be one of the few things we'll try to get as soon as we can, but we may not necessarily grab it within the next 6 months or so. I think when we come back, we're going to come back at the beginning of the new year. We're going to hold off doing any lumber work and such until I figure out exactly where I want to go with this farm, so to speak. Like, there's a bunch of little ideas I have in mind, but I just, with how things are right now, I think we're gonna hold off and do that till later. We're actually gonna hang on. We're gonna, instead of selling the sunflower seeds right away, we're gonna drive this into the shed and just park it away. We don't have any reason to offload it yet. Like, I know we got some corn we could be selling, but I think we're gonna hang on to that as well. I was kind of looking at the markets earlier. February is kind of more the key market for selling sunflowers, and we got corn coming up. So, well, looks like it's starting to recover a little bit, but we'll see what happens. If corn does happen to hit that perfect sell point, so to speak, we'll get rid of all the sunflowers at the same day as we do corn to get some extra cash rolling in. Like I said, the biggest thing we need to worry about investing to right away is a little transport barrel to get fuel up here. That's one thing I'm still kind of... Oh, we're right there. We're hanging out a little bit, but it's fine. Cover, we'll keep the crops, keep the grain dry, so... The one thing that kind of bugs me is that we still... Even though in 19 we had a placeable fuel barrel in the game that we could just buy fuel from on our farm, I kind of wish we had that now. I know there's mods out there that have like fuel pumps and such that do that, but I'd rather just have a fuel barrel, just make it more realistic, because usually whoever the people you're buying fuel from will just transport it out to themselves versus you having to haul it up here and bring it back and such, so to speak. It's kind of unfortunate it's the way it is, but I know there's a few cheap mods or a few cheap fuel barrels out there for us that we could buy, so to speak. But we'll see what happens here. I do want to look at, maybe over the winter we'll get lucky and maybe find a used one. Let's see here. I think it's in here. I mean, I could get that again, but I don't really want to. I kind of just want to get a barrel and just be able to fill up at our farm, so to speak. So, I think... Doesn't look like the trailer's in here. I wonder... Is it underneath animals, maybe? Because I think I'll just probably get something like that again as well. Let's get this... Get the same barrel that we got in our other series. Yeah. I wonder. I think we would just go with standard and get the... Yeah, I think that's the route we would go here, so to speak. Probably just go with a nice... Oh. Probably something like that. I think that's what we would go with. But I'm gonna wait a little bit, see if we can just get a cheaper barrel for sale over the winter. Like I said, we're not at the point yet where we have to be super concerned with fuel. Like, we got enough fuel to get us by for most of our equipment for the springtime, at least. At least I'm hoping. Worst case scenario, we just have to divvy out the work a little bit better. I think we're going to end up... I don't know if we're going to put the case on the planner or if we're going to put the 7,000 on it. I think we might put the case on it just because we'll be using the 7,000 more for the little square baler and the sprayer, so, and mowing when we start doing some more grass again. So I think that's the route we'll go. But anyways, we're gonna wrap up today's episode here. If you enjoyed today's episode, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps out the channel. If you're enjoying the content, please subscribe so you can stay up to date to the latest series. Above all else, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. And most of all, thanks for watching.